Hey, it's springtime and it's time for another one. So let's talk about what's up in Japan for March 2016. First thing I want to talk about is a contest in Aichi Prefecture. So I know before I talked about tourism in Japan and I talked about, how they're not doing things right, but actually last year they did improve things, so they had a record year last year for tourism, which is great. But they've actually continued the good work, and now in Aichi Prefecture they're having a contest for ninja. So basically they're looking for people all over Japan and all over the world, people that want to be ninjas. What they want is people to come there, put on martial arts shows, talk to people and dress as ninjas. And so you can actually be a ninja and this can be your job. And as I said before, it's not only limited to Japanese people, this is international. Unfortunately, by the time you're hearing this, the contest is over. Don't get mad at me, so it's not my fault, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you this sooner. But apparently they were flooded with entries of people that wanted to be ninjas, and I don't blame them. I'd like to be a ninja too. But to be honest, I don't think this is a full-time job. I think it's kind of part-time. I forgot what the salary is. I'll try to post it below. But basically, I don't think it's going to be able to feed your wife and kids, but I think it maybe as a side job, it's pretty good. And besides, just throwing shuriken all day. How can you beat that? Speaking of jobs, they're actually looking for another job. This one is primarily targeted at women. It's for a shrine maiden. So if you've ever watched anime or something, you probably know that the shrine maiden costume, it's like white and they wear like the red pants and everything. This isn't just an anime thing, this is actually real. They have this, so if you live in Japan, you can actually see women doing this. But there's going to be a new shrine that's going to open up in Akihabara. And they need a shrine maiden, so they're looking for someone to do this as a part-time job. One of the strange things about this is they're going to be performing ceremonies for figurines. So I guess if your figurine dies, they'll perform some kind of burial or cremation, or I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest, because I don't understand how an action figure or a figurine can die, but they'll do something. And if you're a woman in Japan, you can apply for this job, so that can be you taking care of people's loved figurines. Moving on with the anime and otaku theme is Otaku contest. This was a contest for otaku, and it's actually kind of like a haiku contest. It's actually not haiku, it's senryu, which is the same as haiku, except I think haiku are only about nature, whereas senryu can be about anything, and it's usually funny. But basically, what they did is they asked otaku to write a senryu, and the winners got money. The grand prize, I believe, was 100,000 yen. That's good money for just writing a poem, especially because it's haiku style, so it's not very long. It was really interesting to see what people wrote. I'll read you the winning senryu. Prosecon. 決して消える美少女映るデブ Translated, this means, I turn off my computer. The beautiful woman disappears. Reflected back at me is a fat man. I thought this was great. Not only is it funny, but it has to do with otaku. I think it's a self-deprecating humor, and it fits within the haiku structure of 17 syllables. So whoever did this, you deserve the 50,000 yen. Or no, it's 500,000 yen. Whatever it is, you deserve it. Great job. And I'll show a few other ones. I'll let you vote above, so you can vote for the other ones. Unfortunately, YouTube only lets me put 5 choices there, so I can't show you all the top 10, but you get the idea. Vote for the ones you like. The next one is a interview with a professional Sakura. So I'm sure you know Sakura means like the cherry blossom, but Sakura actually has another meaning. It's like a plant. I guess that's similar in English. It's basically someone who pretends to be someone they're not. And so, if you don't know this, in Japan last year there was a news story about a dating site. And basically on the site there was 2.7 million users, but only one of them was a woman. Everybody else was men, but they had people pretending to be women to talk to the customers to get more and more money. And so these people that were tricking them in were called Sakura. And so this is actually somewhat common. So they did an interview with this man and they talked to him about the job, and he said, it's really stressful, but I kind of like doing it. He said, I had to figure out ways to trick these men into liking me, but then not actually going on dates with them and coming up with an excuse that wasn't too crazy. And then he said, for the last day of work, he said, I went there the day before, and so I woke up in the morning, got dressed, I went to work, and I went to my office, and he said everything was just gone from his office and everybody left. So it was the office had never been there. They just disappeared. And he said, I didn't know if I was fired or the company went under or what happened. So I thought it was a little bit funny, but I'll let you read it yourself. I'll link to it so you can read this yourself. I don't know why this happens, really. It's kind of a shame, too, because there's lots of single men in Japan, but there's also lots of single women, and it seems like people want to date each other, but it seems like they just can't find each other and come together, which is kind of a sad thing, but I don't know. I still don't understand why there's really it's like 2.7 million. Maybe it wasn't that many, but it was like 27,000. It was some ridiculous number of men and one woman. Last but not least, I'll talk about an interesting story they had. And it was a survey they did, and they asked men in Japan, what are the top 10 complaints you don't want to hear from your wife? So I think maybe men from all over the world can understand these. Some of these I think are maybe normal. Some of them I don't really understand. But here, I'll read them to you. Number 10. Stop wasting money on things you don't need. I can understand why they'd be upset about that. But lots of men in Japan have hobbies, and they spend lots of money on them. Why am I saying that lots of men in Japan? Lots of men in every country have hobbies they have to waste money on, but I can understand why men wouldn't be happy if their wife complained about that. Number 9. Stop being a lazy fatso. Self-explanatory. I can understand why you wouldn't want to hear that. Number 8. I don't want to share a grave with you. Also self-explanatory. I can understand why you'd be offended and not want to hear that. Number 7. At least take care of the dishes after we eat. I don't think that complaint's so bad. I'd much rather hear that than I don't want to share a grave with you or stop being a lazy fatso. But maybe that's just me. I guess everybody has different triggers. Number 6. Take care of the cooking once in a while. I don't know if that's really even a complaint you could get angry about. I think that's just maybe common sense. Maybe you should just do that. Doesn't seem that bad to me. Number 5. Show more appreciation for the things I do. I think maybe people from all around the world have the same feeling, so maybe that's not specific to Japan. Number 4. If we didn't have kids, I would have divorced you by now. Ouch. Number 3. I made a huge mistake marrying you. Another hurtful one. Number 2. You stink. I don't know what to say about that. And number 1. This one I think many men can understand, but this is number 1 in Japan. Earn more money. Let that be a lesson to you. So if you're married in Japan, make sure you have lots of money, do the dishes every once in a while, cook every once in a while, and don't be a lazy fatso. And you won't have any complaints with your wife. That's probably not true, but you won't have these complaints, and maybe she won't tell you she doesn't want to share a grave with you, or she wished she didn't marry you. Although, who knows? I don't know. I'll leave a vote up here also, so you can vote for which one you think is the worst and which complaint you would least like to hear. And as always, if you like this, leave a comment below, thumbs it up, subscribe, share it, and all that good stuff. And until next time, see you. If you enjoyed that video, subscribe. Also, feel free to comment down below and check out some of my other videos here. Or is it here?